This morning we talked about the strategies for that first stage, pulling the child in. And as you remember, we were talking this morning, the floor time techniques we're covering today are more than simply for those 8 or more 20-minute or more sessions that we want to do each day, or as much as you can do during the child's waking time. And again, on a busy day, don't feel you necessarily have to do 8. And for some children, you may want to do more semi-structured problem solving, and do 5 and 5, 5 semi-structured problem solving, 5 floor time. Some kids may want to emphasize the motor and sensory and spatial play a little more, depending on the profile of the child. The basic principle is the child's waking time needs to be used wisely. And for children who are struggling with the first 4 levels, most of that has to be one-on-one time. Once the child gets through the first 4 levels, things can be learned more in groups. But we can't afford sitting around in circle time. We can't afford watching TV for more than a half hour. Can't afford screen time for more than a half hour. Although with the older children, once they've mastered this, the computer can be an aid for math learning or some reading learning. And then you can spend a little more time on the computer. But even there, you don't want more than an hour a day, because interactive time is still the name of the game. So we want to use the time wisely, and there are choices to be made. It's not that listening to a story is bad. It's just that it's not as good as interaction with a child who's not yet interactive. With a child who's fully interactive and fully verbal and loves to pontificate in the meaning of the story he's hearing, that's terrific. Listening to a story is great. But for the child who's just getting the rudiments, we've got to make it interactive. That child loves to look at books. We've got to look at books with him. Turn the pages together, point at different interesting sites in the books. The child who's identifying words but not interactive and can actually read a little bit, and many kids can, we can look at books together and read a sentence and then act it out as a pretend drama and then take off on that pretending. So you can turn the child's interest into interaction. But the key is not to simply use activities that may be, quote, educational, but are not where the child is at. Remember, the principles are meet the child at the developmental level, move that child up.